Hello, my name is Mikko Sirén. I am from Apocalyptica and you are watching Loud TV. Can be two ways, and that's kind of that's the part of the trick, that it looks like Cell-0, but it's actually Cell-0, and there is the reason why it's Cell-0. Kind of like the making of the album, we thought a lot about all kinds of things around us, and we wanted to create a story, a concept for the album. And in our heads we created a particle, kind of like a small, you could say a God particle, kind of like the particle that doesn't exist, that you cannot pinpoint, that you cannot define, but is there, and that is the Cell-0. Kind of the core, the essence of everything, which you could kind of take into the music in a way. If you think of a song which is combined from tiny particles, there's notes, there are rests, there are chords, there are melodies, and you put all those things in together to create a song. The song is almost there with all those things. You still need the soul of the song, which could be Cell-0. That's something you cannot define, but needs to be there, that it's emotionally there. And that same Cell-0 could be seen in other parts of the life as well, like the particles is a big continuing theme in this album, and how everything, whatever there is in the world, is based on the particles. If you go deep to the most macro level of a thing, if you check with the microscope, there are tiny cells, and those cells form bigger entities, and yet to make all that happen you need something more, something you cannot see, and that's Cell-0. And also we thought of that's kind of like a game of thinking that something humankind seem to have lost in the times is the empathy, is the compassion, is the warmth towards other people, towards the nature, towards the animals, towards the planet Earth. And that Cell-0 is something we need to find back. If we want to change what kind of like the current direction where the world is going, where all of a sudden very dark things is happening. It's not to say that we are all doomed, and it's not the doomsday thing, but kind of to be alert that all of a sudden more negative things are happening that anybody could even predict even 10 years ago. Yeah, and that's something, and we don't want to explain. We kind of like, as we do instrumental music, only ways what we can kind of like, what kind of hints we can give is the album title, song title, and the music. And that's all we technically give. We now give you kind of like a story behind how Cell-0 name came into life, and then you have those album song titles, which is really important for us, and all of those song titles are kind of like different viewpoints into Cell-0. And we approached every song that they would be kind of like paintings within that frame of Cell-0, and we took it to far extent so that we even actually in the album artwork, every song is a painting. When you open the booklet, there is 9 paintings, like 9 openings, and every song has got a painting which kind of in our minds they reflect the core of the song. But as said, we don't want to give answers, we want to ignite sparkle which raises the question in the listener. Even though you can, or we feel that there's like this just inevitable things that is happening in Earth at the moment, like just for the nature, still it's not black and white. It's not that this is the only solution, this is the only problem, or anything like that. There is just a mixture of gray tones, and then if you, depending from the person you ask, depending on the point of view, depending even the time of day, the answer would be different. So that's a very good point, that to take away that possibility to let yourself to go easy and only go with black and white. Yeah, and that things where things break apart for tiny particles, like I said, it's also in a mental level. That's kind of like where we wanted to take it, and it goes through all whole artwork, all this breaking apart. And that's the thing about human beings. As I said, everything is built from tiny particles, and human being is extraordinarily clever and skillful making things out of small particles. People can make stunningly beautiful pieces and amazing creations from tiny particles, and at the same time human beings spend more resources, more money to come up with things, how they can break and destroy things. They spend more money on war industry than they spend money on medication, and that's the craziness of it. So we have the ability to fix and do things good, and yet we choose to break things apart. Yeah, actually the recording process, also one thing what came to the existence was when we toured with that plays Metallica by 4 cellos, and we realized that we actually want to go back to our roots. When playing all those songs with just cellos and drums, we realized this is something that people have really waited for. We saw the reactions in the audience that, hey, this is something that our fans really appreciate, and we wanted to give it a gift for them, that after 17 years, let's give them something they've been waiting for so long. And that being said, that led to the decision that we will make an instrumental album. We will take the same vibe that there was in the earliest days of Apocalyptica. And when we thought of that, we thought that who could be the best producer in the world to capture that kind of a vibe? And we found the perfect producer for that, and that's Apocalyptica. That was the best solution how to create it on that time. And then Andrew Sheps, who is amazing, like Grammy Award-winning mixing engineer, and my big hero. I'm a big fan of mixing engineers, and I just listen to albums based on the fact who has mixed it. A bit of a nerd I am, but so Andrew, we finally got in. He's been in the picture for a long time. We've been wanting to work with him, and this time it worked out. And when we explained the whole thing to him, and when we kind of like show all the arrangement, how we had done them and how we had recorded the album, he totally understood our picture. Like, we always have wanted to do it, but this time I feel we succeeded better than before. That we wanted to underline the most fragile, beautiful parts to be more fragile and more beautiful than ever before. And on the other hand, those trashy, dirty, energetic parts, we wanted to be trashier, more energetic and dirtier than ever before. And that kind of combination he totally got, and he was able to lift it even up to another dimensions. And it was really, really thrilling to work with him. And now I can listen to one of our albums when I'm listening to Andrew Sheps' catalog through, then I can find our album over there. We felt that our biggest fans, they really want to hear that instrumental album. And as all the previous 1, 2, 3, 4 albums were vocal driven albums, we thought that we've done those quite a bit now, especially Shadowmaker, which is heavily in vocal influenced. We thought that now we can do, for a change, something totally else. And it was just from that feeling. But for Frankie, he's a dear friend, and as you said, amazing voice and a great singer. And we just asked him to come to sing with us when we do an American tour, like in May, and we asked him to join us for the whole tour. So he has got this Deadland Ritual, this his own band, what he's doing now, which is really funny. You should check it out. That band, but it seems that he would have time, and we get to hang out together again. You